go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Victor Allen's new Sportz, written and directed by the bald-headed black man. That's right. Victor Allen, bringing you his unique fan-based view of sports. Listen to the man that the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. Dress appropriately, sports bras and jock straps. Bring your own Lotrimin cream. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Vic.
Okay, now, it's hard to get excited. I watched a lot of people sit back today because it's such a special day. And I said, well, look, let me just acknowledge what's happening because everybody else is watching it. And I believe everybody's tuning in to the celebration of life for Kobe and Gianna Bryant, and along with the other family members who were on that tragic helicopter crash. So they're doing that right now at Staples. Now, the one thing I want to do is first acknowledge that he was a father. Kobe was an NBA champion, Oscar winner, entrepreneur. And he's done something that I didn't expect him to do. Now, I'm not comparing, so please don't take this. There's no who's losing, who's winning. But I'm somewhat shocked at how he had the examples for everybody and was teaching them along the way while he was playing. It's something I didn't expect to hear. Sometimes we go, silence is golden. And when you compare him to Michael Jordan, who everybody would say, Jordan kept to himself, that's it, but he's the GOAT. One thing I'm gaining this experience about is how much players who were on the opposite side of competition would talk about while they were playing and competitive, that he would tell them, hey, you need to be over here. Now, imagine this, that you're competing with somebody, Maury. It's like you playing football. And somebody who's your mentor is telling you, hey, man, you know what? You need to slide a little bit to your left when you do this. And you're going, no, you're setting me up. But really what he's saying is, I know what you should be doing based on your position, so I want to help you to be a better competitor against me. That is big. I have not heard any athlete do that. And this is along the whole time, while all the other things were not as popular with Kobe when you had the down periods in Laker lore, when you had those bad years where people were jumping on him. But when you hear how much now this generation said, you guys had your Michael Jordan, rightfully so, because he was an 80s product. Kobe is our Michael Jordan. I've learned that more out of hearing the stories and how they felt. And it made me want to think about asking you, Mario, who was your Michael Jordan as the basketball player who epitomized your time where you go, he was my number one? Was it Mike?
Well, and a lot of it has to do with age. You're so right, Vic, when you say that it depends on your generation, because you're going to talk about the people that you saw.
Right.
And normally, Michael Jordan is up there. Magic Johnson is up there. But for me, the greatest of all time was Julius Erving.
Right, and rightfully so, because at that time, I remember the stories of, here comes this ABA man who spent his years, and it was the first individual, even outside of Elgin Baylor, because I heard he had his own skills too, that took flight, that made dunking something you was going to look at in a different way. So it is hard when you don't get to see Doc, because he really came into the NBA after somewhat his peak. And so you don't get a lot of documentation on it, the same way you don't get a lot of Wilt Chamberlain, but you see a lot more Bill Russell. So I can understand why you say Dr. J, but what was it about Dr. J that got you, though, man?
What I loved about Dr. J was his dedication to excellence, his presence as a political figure. See, my greatest artists also stood out in dealing with society.
Right.
And Dr. J did that.
Right.
He did that, wearing his afro and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
making all those statements, and the way he continued to push for excellence,
Right.
always, and the way he spoke and carried himself.
Yeah.
And again, let's not get away from the fact that he did what up until that time had never been seen.
Right.
Okay, and he led the way for basketball players to start to even try to do
Right.
what Kobe and Magic and all of them did who came after him.
And it gets me to another thing that I think that period of time was for what they call, the community, civil equality, rights for people. That period, a lot of the basketball players, because it was kind of one of those moments where it's beyond basketball. I believe we're living in a period in time with players who are now what they call entrepreneurial, independent, developing a business, a strategic initiative. They're now emboldened to be successful business platforms. So, yes, that's the part that Kobe, I get out of Kobe what I didn't know back then when he was playing, because, you didn't have to love him, didn't have to like him. But what he did with a lot of people, when you hear them talk, and how many people went to his school, and how many people were really biting off of him, from Kawhi, you name it, all of them went to his playground, his school. I understand it. And probably the best demonstration I've seen of an athlete with his daughter that I've seen so far at this time. So I wanted to let people know that this is just about how I see things a little bit different, and the experience of people speaking about him now allows me to say, hey, you know what? He's not Superman. He may have had his faults, but behind the scenes, oh my God, wealth beyond recognition, what he was trying to do for other people. So I want to give that shout out, which now leads me to one of the hardest things to do, and that is to say, man, who is on your Lakers Mount Rushmore? Man, think about it, Mario. If you had to just go, okay, here's the 5. And you know what? There's a graphic on there. Just go, but below that you can go to where I don't even have to give the names of anybody. But if I said, here's your Laker 5, but you had to eliminate one, it's going to be Kareem, it's going to be Shaq, going to be Magic, going to be Kobe, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When you're literally sitting there going, who is the Mount Rushmore for? If you had to think about it, what 4 comes to mind first, man? If you had to think about it.
Well, that story gets rewritten in a lifetime, right?
Right.
Kobe's rewritten things because now when you think of the Lakers, he's part of the fabric of that organization.
Right.
Specifically because spending his entire career there.
Right.
And starting as young as he did. So before that had never happened.
True.
Okay, as far as I can't think of any player who did that, didn't spend his whole career with one organization. So Magic Johnson, prior to that, to me, had become the defining person. And before that, Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay.
But then it changed.
Yes, it does.
And then we can't exclude Jabbar. I'm sorry I forgot him, because he was certainly part of the defining era before Magic and then continuing through.
Right.
So, again, the issue with the Lakers is there's so many greats, like you said.
Right.
And at different times, because of the championships involved.
Oh, bruh.
They get the defining era.
Yeah. The hard part about it is you're changing, because why does Mount Rushmore only have to have 4 people? It's all it is a big lump of rock where you can carve in another face, but people want to reduce it down to 4, and I understand. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna leave that alone and see if I can give you 2 people that I would probably go automatic to. I'm gonna come to that a little bit later. I'm gonna go over to, I know I see the display. I'm coming back to this later. I want to go over to across the town, across the way, there was a signing by the Lakers to go. The Clippers pulled a move in their with the Morris brothers, and we got to do something. So DeMarcus Cousins is your casualty. And before I even go into, the impact of this, because just because you have players on the team, they still got to deliver. They still have to gel. Do you feel for DeMarcus Cousins, man? I mean,
oh no, I don't.
You don't feel for
no,
him?
because and plus he was wanted. He was wanted. It was just he got the injury, and now it's a different fit. But I think he'll still have good feelings about his time with the Lakers, and I think that he's going to end up finding a nice home somewhere else.
It's going to be difficult because of the minimum that they had him signed on. And to be on a team now where there was, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago, he was paired with Anthony Davis, and he was considered the best big man. And then his journey going to Golden State, being able to play on a championship team, or limitedly, and then also coming now to L.A., the franchise. Now, the chances are he's taking the best pathway. It'll be interesting to see where he lands. I definitely think he's going to land. It's just where. So, yeah, I just wanted to see if you felt like, he'll bounce back, but he's been prone to injury. Now, let me say this, the Morris thing. Okay, twins. All right. Now, Marquise, he got out of Detroit Pistons. Now, he left Detroit and came here for less money. Did you think he wanted to get out real bad, man?
Well, plus this is a chance at a championship.
Yeah, so
anywhere. First of all, it's Los. Okay.
See, I'm just trying to take you there.
This is L.A.
Right,
and that's Detroit.
Right. What are you saying, man?
Yeah.
You saying get out?
Does it need to be said?
Yes, it's
okay.
True.
Now,
okay.
In terms of teams, let's say it again. This is L.A. and that's Detroit.
What are you trying to say?
That need to be said.
Wait a minute. He got, he's playing with Blake Griffin.
Detroit.
I'm trying to.
Snow, cold.
Okay.
Think of the summers. Just the weather alone sucks.
Maybe some of the bad boys out there in the stands giving them hope and prayer. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. Both of them are almost similar. I mean, both came from Kansas. This is weird. Both of them got drafted in the first round, 13th and 14th. Guess who got the 13th pick? The Lakers. So this is interesting to see how one was chosen ahead, to see how they play, and they're so similar.
What's their age range?
Oh, man, they got to be around 31 now.
Are they twins? They're not twins.
They're twins, man.
Oh, they're twins.
Yeah. The thing that you can see different now as you look at the pictures like this is that Marquis's beard is longer. When you go look at him, that'll be able to give you a distinction just for the moment if you needed it. But for the most part, man, they're the same. It's just a matter of where they're playing. And Marcus has been balling. So he's been in a position where it's unfair to compare Markieff because you got to see the TV time to make a comparison. And when you're, like you said, Mark, you see Detroit's not getting a lot of PT time media-wise. So we'll see how it goes. But one to sit back and say they needed this, the Lakers needed this because the Clippers are deep, although they're going through tough times right now because they have no chemistry. So if you look below that, Mario, let's see if you can see the difference between the two. Let's see. Can you tell which one is Markieff or Marcus?
You said the one with the longest beard.
There you go. That's it. Now, if they decide to switch that up and fool you, I don't know how they're going to do it. So at least you now know everybody's going for the championship this year. This is what it's all about. It's this year because I believe all these other teams that's coming up with younger players, they're going to be tougher to beat next year. Now, I'm going to go back down to what I said about, can I pick two people on my Mount Rushmore? Oh, this is two. All right. I'm going to go Mount Rushmore. I got to go two. I definitely got to go Magic and Kareem. The reason why I'm going there is because still records have to be broken for Kareem. Kobe's coming up there. So I got two. But that's all I'm going right now. Because now nobody knows really how the Big Dipper played, Wilt. I mean, when you go see his records, nobody's got.
We just say it's too old.
Well,
they don't have a they don't have a
video.
Film of
they don't have film of him.
Of his 100-point game.
I watched him as a young child with my father, and just dominant. But then I got to see Shaquille O'Neal, who's bigger, and even more dominant. So I know my other two that I'm leaning towards already. But
you saying if it's Mount Rushmore, you get 4.
Right. I'm only picking 2 that I know right now. They go, you can't leave Magic.
I know which ones I picked.
I'm just picking 2. You can go ahead.
I just leave. Shaq is as much as I give them all. First of all, they're all great.
Right.
They're all great. I just think that the other 4 are above Shaq.
So you already Shaq is. You're leaving Shaq off.
I'm leaving Shaq off.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
But I'm going to definitely have Kareem and Magic,
right,
and Kobe and Wilt.
Right. See, it's hard. But
I would actually leave off. See, I would have Jerry. See,
you can't put
Jerry West was the figure of basketball,
but lost so much to the Boston Celtics. So many times.
Well, it was a different league. First of all, you only had every year when you came to championship.
Wait a minute, man.
It was like the same people.
Wilt had to go through the same
it was
thing.
The same. It was just like NFL. They didn't have as many teams or anything.
Right.
It was always the same people.
Right. Listen. Wilt and Kareem have records. You'll get to Kareem's records to a certain time. What Kareem did in college to the pros is they changed some rules because of what.
Yeah, that's right.
Wilt did something on stats that nobody's ever
to raise the rim.
Right. So, and then Magic being the best point guard ever. You hate to choose between Kobe and Shaq, but if I had to choose and say, you know what, Kobe is transcended. He's got more championships. I end up going, he's my third player in there. I got to go in there. And now I'm almost leaning towards where you are, where you go, I don't want to leave Shaq off. What I've seen from him, you just go like, oh, my God, I can't imagine I would leave him off. So I went from 2 to 3. I'll dwell on it for a little while longer, man. I'll dwell on it. I'm sorry, man. Hey, look, it's hard. It's hard. All right, real quick. Should anybody be fearing Milwaukee? Because they're already going, you guys doing all that talk in the West, but we keep grinding. Our point differential is more than anybody in the league. Nobody's even close to us. I'm shocked at Toronto, how well they're performing, but Milwaukee is consistent. Should we be fearing the beast in the East? Or is this just regular season?
It's funny, in a sense, I'm with you, Vic, because I'm not fearing them. I'm not fearing them.
Wow.
I'm not fearing them. Right. And maybe too much focus on the West, huh?
Okay. Well, the hype is this. You don't know your players until you get in the playoffs, which is true. And the great ones know how to turn it up. Watching the All-Star game, this NBA All-Star game, you saw how the best players were like delivering it. I said, that's the playoffs. That's the playoffs. So I have to wait until I get to the first round, see the playoffs. Right now, people are just trying to stay healthy. So I don't fear them yet, but I'm not taking them for granted. All right. Time to transfer the crown, man. Mara, how you feel about the British are the best boxing country for heavyweights on the planet? Ready to let it go?
You ready? Come on. Just after that.
Yes, man, because, listen, there were people who were going, I thought Deontay Wilder would bring more than this. And he got served, man. I mean, first of all, when somebody's bear hugging you and then somewhat licking the back of your neck, that means he's going, I got this. Now, I don't know why. Tyson.
I actually don't know what signal that sends.
I have no idea, bro.
Never happened to me personally.
The tongue waggling and all that, blood on the shoulder and everything. I said, okay, you know what? Let me just say this. I'm going to say this. Tyson Fury's story, him sitting back talking about how why is he here? Giving up on life. the whole thing comes from, hey, you know what? My grind, my journey is way deeper than yours. And he reached down and he served Deontay. Now you got Anthony Joshua and you got Tyson Fury. Who you got in the U.S., man? Should we just sit back and say, we need to back up, man?
We have Tyson's chicken.
You know what I'm just saying, dude? So, are you ready to give the crown to the British Empire?
Remember, okay, let's say this. First of all, probably would be good for boxing, which is a sport which I think is on the ticker anyway, because the goal is to give your opponent a concussion. And I think it's on a ticker, but it probably would be good for boxing to get that change internationally, and actually probably to get some boxers in from even some other countries. That would probably be good for them, to spread, just to get it, make it more international. So I think this helps.
Let me say this: I would fear anyone that has about 40 to 45 pounds heavier.
I always wonder why remember they were going to have the sumo boxers?
Right.
The sumo where they couldn't move. They just couldn't move.
You mean the wrestlers? Sumo wrestlers?
Yeah, they were going to have the sumo wrestlers
go and
box.
They're right. They sure did.
They're going to try to have them box.
Right.
But I don't know how that worked out.
No. So look, I'm not going to sit up here and say, look, there's going to be a third fight. You know that. They have 30 days in their contract. Deontay, they have 30 days to honor the third fight, and then that's money time. And if they don't, they go on to another match. After what you're seeing here, do you think Deontay can come back? Or do he have to put on about another 25 pounds? Because this dude is just too big.
He may be done.
You think he's done, man?
Deontay better get some local sponsorships.
Oh, man.
Find a good auto dealership.
You know what? I ain't going to
get him. Rep.
You know what I'm going to say this? I think he had too much Las Vegas. I'm just saying that, man. I think
it's hard to stay focused.
Yeah, too much Las Vegas. I'm out of here, man. I'm ready to sit back and go to the next one, dude. Let's get out of here, man.
Victor Allen's New Sports, written and directed by the bald-headed black man. A recurring segment of Morning Coffee with Mario. You can find it every week. Tricky Vic, rub his head, make a wish. They call him sexual chocolate. Home of the Snicky Snacks. The Wiki Wax. Bring your own foot powder, sports bras and jock straps for everybody. That way we're all confused.